Hey everyone, welcome to Taste Different Gaming Appetizers. And what are we talking about this time? Well, Warner Brothers, they discuss the volatile AAA console games, and they'll lean more towards that free-to-play mobile portion that seems to work for everybody, you know? So during a Morgan Stanley speaking event, Warner Brothers Discovery gaming boss JB Perrette discussed some of the company's strategy for gaming going forward. It includes more live services, mobile games, and free-to-play titles. He said, "We're doubling down on games as an area where we think there's a lot more growth opportunity that we can tap into with the IP that we have and some of the capabilities, we have on the studio where we're uniquely positioned as both a publisher and developer of games." He said that Warner Brothers' recent gaming outings have focused on AAA games for console, such as like Hogwarts Legacy, which sold 22 million copies and became the best-selling game of that year. With this kind of success never guarantee is what Perrette said is a volatile market. He pointed out that one of Warner Brothers' latest big games, Suicide Squad to Kill the Justice League, was disappointment for the company. So the plan going forward, he said, is to help reduce volatility by focusing on core franchises and bringing at least some of them to the mobile and free-to-play space, as well, and continue to invest in live service games that people play, spend money on over a long period of time. This will help Warner Brothers generate more consistent revenue, he says, going on to tease that Warner Brothers had some new mobile free-to-play games coming this year. Also worth noting is that just because they may push into new areas, that doesn't necessarily mean they'll stop making single-player AAA games. Sure. Rather than just launching a one-and-done console game, how do we develop a game around for example, Hogwarts Legacy or Harry Potter, that is a live service where people can live, work, build, and play in that world on an ongoing basis? Yeah, I mean, essentially, the whole aspect is they're pretty much just doubling down on that free-to-play live service mobile gaming market. Suicide Squad, which we reviewed, and we thought, the single play or the story portion of the game was pretty good. But again, it's a live service game. It's not something that people want. And, during the time of the review, that was one thing I probably all of us were worried about, is the longevity of this game, right? It's a great game initially, yes, but how long is it going to keep people's attention? And it seems like not very long. Because that game, I think, just announced that the first season is coming out here soon with the Joker, and it's already got a player base that's dwindled down to nothing. So, that season one release for Suicide Squad may up that player base once that releases. But again, once players get through that content, it's just going to die off again, and the sustainability is not going to be there for it. And you got something like Hogwarts Legacy, which was a single player, no microtransactions or any of that crap. It was a great game. We reviewed that one too. And we all really liked that game, and it sold 22 million copies, became the best selling game of that year that it came out. And it's like, you take two different parts of the spectrum. You have that, Suicide Squad live service game. And then you have this AAA single player experience, and one does better than the other. And you decide the one that did bad is the one we need to go towards. Right. It's like, I don't know. I don't get, hey, it's business. I don't understand it. But I mean, you're not going to be able to create, in my perspective, you're not going to be able to create an atmosphere that people are going to live, breathe, and eat and poop and everything in on a daily basis. That's a really hard market to get into. And a lot of games try to do that, right? We've had a lot of live service games come and go all the time because developers, publishers, investors, and everything want that trickle of money. They want that quick and easy, right? It's like, let's just make a game. We only have to make one game. We can develop that one game for the rest of our lives, and money just pours in. But that's not how it works, right? Very few games in that live service market actually survive. And when they do survive, I feel like a lot of them, even the ones that are still around, have a really hard time staying around, right? Even some of those heavy hitters have times where things look a little rocky, you know? So it's a very tough market to stay in because people just don't have there's too many games out out there today. People just don't have the ability to sit there and play one, right? It's not like when we were kids and you had one game every year or something like that, right? We have games like pouring out of our butts now, and it's like we don't have enough time to sit there and play one for the rest of our lives or anything like that. People just keep flowing to the next, to the next, to the next. So I think it's just the more volatile market. I feel like is this live service market, because you just don't know how it's going to impact you in the long term. But let's go around and see what everybody thinks of this. Pat, what do you think of Warner Brothers and their decision?
I don't think that they have a brain between them to make their decisions. It doesn't sound like it. Video games is one of those things that is very much a consumer driven market, right? No matter what you do, you're bound by the consumer, which is most products, except for a lot of things these days are reoccurring revenue. Video games are not those typically, unless you have an MMO or something like that. I mean, you have like Fortnite and stuff like that, of course. The outliers, right? The one in like a million that made it. And Warner Brothers is pissed off because they put out a game that really, to me, didn't have any business being a live service game. The way they did the end game content was like, I need to kill this guy 9 more times as part of this. No, screw you guys. I don't want to rerun and do this over and over and over. And all it does is increase his difficulty. Screw you guys. That's not end game. That's punishment, you know? And that's the problem, right? Everybody wants a live service game these days. And we as a community are kind of over those games. There are a few that still live and a few that people still go back to, you know, but only a few, just like Nick said, only a few can survive. You can't have 50 to 100 popular live service games because there's just not enough people to keep something like that rolling, right? You're not going to get people to, I mean, the popular ones out there is like Fortnite and, you know, and things like that, and Apex Legends and PUBG, you know, things like that are really popular. You know, and then you have some of the MOBA games. I don't know how popular like League of Legends is anymore, if it's still popular, but you have these games as a service, live service games where they just keep adding content and changing things. And even the newest newcomer to them, Helldivers 2, you know, we'll see how that game lasts a year, you know. Destiny 2, I mean, Destiny had a good run, and then Destiny 2 came out and it came out a little rocky, and then it got a little better, and then, you know, but it has its ups and downs, and I think people are getting kind of tired of the Destiny franchise because the story is just getting jerked around and people are in that game for the story. But Warner Brothers has nothing of value to offer, I feel, in a live service game because they don't have anything unique. They haven't come up with anything unique, right? They're just trying to build off everybody else's concepts. And then when it doesn't work out, they double down, right? And that's what Ubisoft, they're basically pulling an Ubisoft at this point. They're doubling down on something that they haven't figured out how to do properly. And then they're hurting all their other games, right? Because we also just heard recently that Warner Brothers was delisting all of the games that they published under the Adult Swim titles, right? You know, so, and they're not transferring ownership, you know, publishing rights over to the developers. And that's what's problem, right? Like they own the publishing rights. And so they're delisting all this stuff and the publishers have the developers, no recourse. And I read the article and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like all these companies need to get together that this is happening to and get a lawyer and sue the shit out of Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers basically said, we don't have the people or the staff to release publishing rights for everybody. And I'm like, no. That's not how that works. You guys decide to delist it and the developers want to keep running the game on Steam, but they're not letting them do that, right? even though the Steam process to publish a game is like takes minutes. You're telling me that for whatever handful of games that they own under the Adult Swim library, Adult Swim name, that they can't transfer the licensing in a week or a day or a month? Come on, people, you're kidding me. You're kidding yourselves. And I think all those people that's happened, get a lawyer and sue the shit out of Warner Brothers, make them pay 100 times more than what they would have lost in the year, but keep holding on to those games. Teach them a lesson, because Warner Brothers just is down a slippery slope right now. As Nick mentioned, they publish a lot of big titles, the Mortal Kombat, all that stuff, and then the Hogwarts Legacy was awesome, but then they're like, no, there's not enough money in the AAA or now quadruple A market, as some have come to call it. There's not enough money in that market. We got to get that reoccurring revenue so we can rest on our laurels and pump out trash every month or every 3 months, and you guys will keep paying for it. That's what we want. We want least effort, maximum revenue. That's what they want. Maximum revenue with least effort, and everybody can see it. I honestly think that the Justice League game was a pretty good game, but I don't see it as a live service game because it can't hold my attention if I'm doing the same crap of that over and over and over, and I'm not building towards anything, right? I'm going to get some better equipment, a little bit of a better equipment. I mean, but nothing is changing, right? In that aspect, it's really weird how the times in video games have changed. Because I remember paying back in the day, paying $15 to play an MMO. Like, wow. And it's kind of similar concept, right? I am gear farming. I'm gear chasing in WoW. Is really all you're doing. You're engaging in this content, running this dungeon with your friends, and getting more gear. And what's funny is that I don't really have a MMO appetite anymore either, because I don't have that much time. Even if I did, I don't know how much I could invest in something like that. And that's the problem. There's too much to play, not enough time to invest. And Ubisoft has nothing unique about any of the games they put out that make me want to play as a live service. They probably could have had Hogwarts Legacy as a live service with all the Harry Potter fans, where they would create some stuff around Quidditch and around houses and house competitions and stuff. But they're too stupid and blind to see something like that. They're like, let's take a franchise of superheroes, which has been overly saturated, and anti-heroes in this one, and villains, and saturated in this market, and just try to turn that into a live service game. We saw what happened to the Avengers. We saw what happened to this one. Blinders on and keep moving, keep marching forward, because we have something better than them. And I am sorry, but you don't. And so they're going to become Ubisoft Junior in this aspect. So Ubi Junior, good luck. You're going to die off sooner rather than later than if you keep chasing the live service dream without a plan or without a good game. Live service, we're tired of them. People are sick and tired of live service games. I want an experience. I don't want something that wants to steal my money for a year, 2 years, or 5 years. I want to pay my $60, $70, $40, whatever, and move on, play it, and be done. As anybody who's listened long enough, I don't do DLC very often. Only in like the games that I absolutely love will I do DLC, and then it's still a crapshoot. Like, I love, the Horizon games, but I have not bought any of the DLCs for the last one. It's just I don't have time, and I don't want to spend the effort in going back into learning something that I've already moved on from. So, Ubisoft, good luck, but I think you're going to drown. Shane, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I don't have a lot I can really say you guys haven't said. I mean, it doesn't make sense. And I know I'm looking at this as a gamer's point of view. I mean, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League had the, longevity of a 90-year-old man who switched his Viagra with Tic Tacs. There's nothing there after your main game. And I agree, Pat. I don't want to fight the same character 13 times just because I can. The Joker character that they're getting ready to come out with looks like shit, pardon my language, but he looks terrible. He doesn't look like the Joker. He looks like a weirdo you see on Catch a Predator. I mean, it's just stupid. And one of the things he brings up in this article, Peretti Bernie went on to say he has no idea how the gaming landscape will evolve over time, but he believes owning the IP and studios will help Warner Bros. Succeed where others might not. Okay, that's stupid. One thing that is consistent from my childhood to now, single player games with good stories, good gameplay, do well. They may not hit live service money, but Harry Potter did excellent. God of War, excellent. Last of Us, more than excellent. They may not be getting that freaking Destiny cash when it first came out or the Fortnite cash, but they're still money makers. Even their own Mortal Kombat series is a money maker. You want to keep continuous revenue? Make continuously good games. You have one of my favorite developers, Rocksteady. Rocksteady is the only reason Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had anything about it that I like, because they know what they were doing. And you could tell that somebody was crapping on them to do all this live service garbage. But they had great writing. They did what they could with, what they were given. And that was the only reason that game had any succession whatsoever. It's articles like this and people like this are ignorant. It's only about the larger quantity of cash. That's it. And I know you're a business, but you can't keep doing stupid things to hopes to catch fire like Fortnite. You can't spend $1 billion to make $1 million and call it a success. And that's what they're trying to do. They're going to burn through millions upon millions until they finally either A, hit that one, or B, they have to sell all their crap. That's it. They have great IPs. They have great writers. I mean, Warner Brothers still can make an occasional great movie. They, have great developers. Listen to them and actually, think about not just the long term, but the everyday. The everyday is a good single player Batman game, a good Justice League Mortal Kombat crossover game. Mortal Kombat itself, give me another Harry Potter for next year. I'm okay with that. Harry Potter goes to college and discovers girls. That's the Harry Potter I want. So this guy's kind of an asshat. If you want to make money, make good games. If you're a goddamn developer, if you're a publisher, you put out good games. You don't force people to put out garbage. They knew that game was going to suck a bucket of ass in the live service area, but they went ahead with it anyways. The game itself has quality. The live service enablings around it are the destroyer of that game. Plain and simple. Would I play that game again with you guys? Sure. But I won't be picking up DLC for it. But if we got bored one night and want to jump in Suicide Squad, sure, I'll re-download it. That would be the only way I would play that game again, period. So it's articles like this and people like this just chat my ass. Just make good games. Let developers have a little bit of input and control of their IPs. And I guarantee you're going to have a better time. I guarantee if they'd have let Rocksteady do Rocksteady, they'd have had a hell of a lot better game. But that's just me. I'm getting pissy now. Thanks a lot. But, Nick, thank you for inviting me on your show. This is fun.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Everybody's chasing that Fortnite money, right? Got to get that Fortnite money.
That's right. That's right. Maybe if they had crossover characters in all their games, like Naruto and G.I. Joe and, freaking,
well, they have that fighting game that's coming out again, right? Multiverses or whatever.
Oh, Multiverses. Yeah.
Yeah. That they put out and then took back and then they're putting out again.
And it did really well at launch, but it choked on the lack that it had nothing, choked on the fact that it had nothing after season 2. I think it it nosedived. Season 1, I think it came out with a good amount of characters and a little extra content, and then like the following season, it was like half a character.
They had like one character, I think, right? They had like 4 characters come out with season 1, and then like 1 character came out with season 2 or something like that.
It's frickin' Warner Brothers. They have all those movies and video games they could have dug into. I mean, I don't get it.
It's no forethought. They have no forethought, right? They own
Forethought,
plethora of
there you go.
IPs to say, we need to develop this game. We need to develop a roadmap, and we need to stick to it. And before this game comes GA, here's our roadmap. Here's our planned seasons, like every other live service does. Here's our year one. Here's our year 1 roadmap. This is what we plan to do. And they could have kept the player base, but what they didn't, because I think that game was, I think it got a lot more players than they anticipated, right? And it blew up their servers. They had server problems. They had actual game bugs that need to be fixed and everything. And so, I think all of those things combined, lack of a vision, lack of content, lack of stability, killed that game off hard because it was doing great, but then it died hard.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bruce Willis
got thrown off a building.
No, I agree with you, Shane, though. There's no, well, with both of you guys, but yeah, I mean, they're just looking for that quick buck, right? I mean, they're looking for a one and doneer, right? They can create one thing and it just sustains them for the rest of time. But, like you guys said, that finding that one and doneer, the individuals like a Fortnite or, all these other live services games, it almost feels like a lot of them just kind of fell into that, right? It wasn't like we were developing this. It was kind of like, oops, like Fortnite was a happy accident, right? I don't think Epic was, because Epic was originally creating Fortnite as like this single player zombie shooter co-op game thing that they were having, and then the multiplayer aspect was kind of like a spin-off of it, but then it ended up turning around, during development. But, I don't even think Epic thought it was going to turn into what it did. Right. And so it feels like a lot of these live service games don't, a lot of them that have caught fire don't know that they're going to catch fire. Right. But the intention with Warner Brothers and Ubisoft and all these other ones that are creating live service games is it's like a wish and a prayer when they bring out a game. They're just developing a game with live services thrown all throughout it and hoping that, hey, we just put this out there in the market and it's going to catch fire. And it's like, but it's not. It's not, because you're developing a live service with a game around it, instead of developing a game and then putting a live service sprinkle on there, right? I mean, it's kind of like Helldivers 2, right? I feel like Helldivers 2 was like a complete game, and then they just tacked a live service kind of aspect onto it, right? They're like, I was going to put this kind of live service tack on there.
I would almost agree with that. I think it was probably the reverse. I think it was a live service thought ideal, and then they were like, all right, so we want to make a live service game. Now, what type of game do we build around the live service? Pat bought stuff for that game. Pat don't buy shit for no game. Pat barely buys the games. That's how well done this game is. It's a live service game that didn't murder you on price at the beginning. The content in the game, oh my God, $4.
$4.
It's a bargain. They didn't murder you with the price, because I believe it was $30 at the beginning.
And the $49.99, I thought, like $50.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was higher. I didn't think it was that high.
I thought it was $39.99.
39 or 49. It wasn't full.
You guys Google while I rant. So they didn't murder you on the initial price. The content is there, but most importantly, the fun is in that game. We play the crap out of that game. We don't play it separately, hardly ever, Pat. because it's a game that we enjoy so much together, and it is a fun game. I'm probably going to buy a little bit of stuff on there because they've done that well with it. It is a reward for doing a good job. It is a reward for providing me the content of fun in a game. That is when I don't mind a live service. So, and Pat, I'm going to spend my $4 too, buddy. You've inspired me.
I was trying to say it was $40 game or whatever, but yeah, I've spent more than that.
So 40. And all right. So just as it was at launch, you take out the live service garbage, that game at launch was worth $40.
Yeah. It was a good co-op game, an extraction shooter game.
Yeah. Cause the laughter the three of us monkeys get playing this thing is hilarious. Yeah. You know, when you bounce a nade off a wall and it drops a surgical strike on your face, that's fun. Or when you throw a grenade and it sticks to the bug that's chasing you down and kills you both. That's fun. We have great times with that. That's what a game needs. Live service, single player, doesn't matter. A game needs to be fun. Even at its most serious times, serious games can be fun. Last of Us was one of the most amazing storylines. And it was so fun. That's a single player game. No live service required. Ghost of Tsushima. There's another one. You know what, Warner Brothers, get a hold of Sony, ask them how they do single player, and then maybe you can learn.
You can learn too. Okay,
you can learn too. Sure. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, they're going in that direction for the money, right? Just to make a quick buck. They want to be able, like Pat said, minimal effort for the biggest outcome, right? And good luck to them. I just don't think it's going to work out. Like we've all said, we're just sick and tired of live service games, and very rarely do live service games actually get their hooks in individuals. Especially for us, very rarely does a live service game hook us. But Helldivers 2 has, and we love that game. That game is really great. But again, the next 10 live services games that come out probably won't have that same effect, right?
And that's a minimal number.
That's the minimum. But it is what it is. Whatever, Warner Brothers, you chased that dragon. Anybody else got anything they want to add to this?
No, just Warner Brothers is like a monkey throwing feces, just seeing what sticks.
Yeah. Hope it sticks to the wall.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know down in the comments below. What do you guys think? What do you think of Warner Brothers and their free to play or live service outings? Are you looking forward to them going in that direction, or do you want them to stick more with the Harry Potter and the single AAA titles? Like Shane said, they do have a lot of good IPs. They got Lord of the Rings, I think, still, and then Harry Potter and stuff like that. And plus, some of the other, Suicide Squad clearly are DC, right? Stuff. So make some good games out of those, right? Don't do this, but we know you're going to. So, but let us know down in the comments below what you think. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. It helps out. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.